Heartwarming Snowstorm Rescue, Black Man discovers incredible billionaire's hidden gratitude, transforms town forever. Malik was a humble mechanic, a quiet hero in his small town, known not only for fixing cars but for fixing spirits. Every day, he put on his grease-stained overalls, tightening bolts and turning wrenches, always keeping a smile that reminded folks there was light even in the toughest times. His mother had been unwell, and every dollar he earned went to her care, each wrench twist a hope to better their lives. Then came the winter storm, a white blanket that turned the town into an icy prison, and the winds howled like desperate spirits longing for release. With the snow piling up, Malik's heart wouldn't let him sit idly. He grabbed his shovel and went door to door, clearing paths for the elderly folks in his neighborhood. As he swung the shovel, the crisp air filled with laughter of children, the thrill of hot cocoa, and memories of community warmth. Each elderly neighbor he helped shared a word of gratitude, their smiles melting the chill around them, and Malik felt that something bigger than himself was brewing in the storm. Hours later, while fighting drifts taller than him, he stumbled upon a luxury SUV half buried in snow. Malik couldn't help but shake his head. How had it gotten there? Really? He muttered, the wheels of his mind racing. Just as he began to dig, the driver stepped out. To Malik's surprise, it was Evan, the reclusive billionaire who rarely left his mansion on the edge of town and was known more for rumors than for presence. "Hey! You need some help?" Malik called out, pushing the snow from his eyes. Evan looked stunned, his million-dollar aura clashing with the reality of a blue-collar savior offering warmth amid the freezing storm. Malik extended his hand, but for a moment, Evan hesitated, caught in the societal judgments that wrap around people like a cold shroud. "Why would you help me?" Evan asked, suspicion swirling in his voice, but Malik's sincerity shone through like sunlight breaking the clouds that and the hours that followed, as they dug through mounds of snow, an unlikely friendship began to thaw. They discussed life, family, and the burdens of responsibility. Malik shared stories of his mother and how he hustled to keep her smiling, while Evan admitted that his wealth felt like a chain sometimes, weighing him down more than lifting him up. But it was the townspeople who watched from behind their windows, whispers rising like steam from their cocoa mugs. Faces twisted with judgment, skeptical glances exchanged, all rooted in the deep-seated biases that ran through the town like a hidden river. "Can you believe that guy is getting help from him?" Someone whispered, their voice laced with disbelief. Malik felt their stares, eyes boring into him like icicles. The rejection simmered just beneath the surface, threatening to erupt. He couldn't have been feeling more alone. So, on top of saving Evan and helping others, he felt the weight of expectations and prejudice pressing down like a heavy snowfall. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The storm finally stopped, and rumors began swirling about a charity event to help the town, a fusion of Malik and Evan's efforts. But just as the plan solidified, misunderstandings and biases crumbled the foundations beneath them, leaving Malik questioning everything. Then, during a town meeting, a local veteran stood up. "That man out there, shoveling snow for everyone. He is a hero. And for those of you who doubt that billionaire, remember his donations got many of us through tough times." His voice reverberated in the room, catching attention like a spark in a snowstorm. Malik felt a flicker of hope, but would it be enough? Would the seeds of understanding take root, or would they remain trapped in the snowdrifts of their own biases? The storm may have cleared, but the weight of unspoken truths loomed like dark clouds on the horizon, leaving hearts heavy with anticipation for what was to come. Malik couldn't shake the mix of hope and doubt that clung to him like the remnants of the snowstorm. After the veteran's stirring words, the room had buzzed with an electrifying energy, yet a lingering tension hummed in the air. The townspeople were divided, their faces reflecting uncertainty and deep-rooted prejudices. Outside, the sun shone brighter, casting long shadows across the white-covered streets, but Malik felt trapped in the lingering chill of skepticism. He went back to his repair shop, but focus was elusive. The clanging of tools and the scent of oil couldn't drown out the murmured judgments echoing in his mind. Why is he even putting himself out there? He represents everything wrong. A voice whispered cruelly at the cafe down the street, slicing through the cheerful laughter of others. Malik's heart sank. It was moments like this that made the battle against prejudice feel more daunting than any snowstorm. Later that evening, sitting at the family dinner table back home, Malik's mother stared at him with her wise, weary eyes. "You're doing good work, Malik. People notice," she said softly, reaching out to hold his hand, fragile but powerful. "But you have to remember, change takes time. You're planting seeds during a difficult season. The storm may be gone, but the ground still needs to warm." He nodded, feeling both encouraged and burdened. "I just wish they could see who he really is, Mom. I want to help people, but they're blaming Evan for what he represents instead of seeing what he wants to do for the town." Malik wiped his hands on a rag, lost in thought. What if the charity event became more than just a fundraiser? What if it was a chance to shift perspectives? But it also felt like a risky leap into a void of uncertainty. The next day, he grabbed his shovel and went back out into the town. This time, he wasn't just clearing paths, he was determined to clear the fog of misunderstanding. Word had spread about the charity event set for next weekend, and he knew he had to gather support. That he started by revisiting those first homes he helped during the storm. House after house, he spoke about Evan. "He's more than a billionaire. He's willing to work with us, to help our community thrive," Malik shared with each neighbor. Some listened, their expressions softening. Others remained stubborn, eyes hard like winter ice. Then, a break through the local diner. It was a hub where opinions fired up like coffee pots. Stepping inside, he felt the collective gaze on him, as if he wore the weight of judgment on his shoulders. But he pushed through. "Hey everyone." Malik's voice rang out, laced with determination. "I know things have been rough since the storm. But what if we come together for this event? It's our chance to have our voices heard, to shape what happens next." Silence fell, then a few heads started nodding. "It's about families, folks. We have a chance to build something here, together." Malik felt energy building, a flicker of hope igniting their hearts. The diner that was once filled with whispers now resonated with murmurs of possibility. Just when he thought he was gaining ground, the door swung open. Evan walked in, a presence that instantly sought attention. The murmurs dropped into a hush. Malik's blood ran cold as he realized the moment had come to face not only the town but the billionaire, too. Right there among them. Would Malik's plan work? Could he truly pave a way for understanding, or would the prejudices reassert themselves, silencing the hopes of his community? As eyes shifted between him and Evan, the air charged with tension, Malik took a deep breath, ready for whatever was about to unfold. Malik's heart raced, pounding like a drum against his ribcage. The faces in the diner swirled around him, some anxious, others a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Their gazes flicked back and forth between him and Evan, anticipation thick enough to slice. Evan stood just inside the door, the winter sunlight haloing him. For a moment, he looked almost out of place, like a character from a different story. But Malik sensed there was power in that presence. Evan's confidence wasn't just about wealth, it was about purpose. "Malik," Evan called, his voice carrying effortlessly over the murmurs. He approached, his stride steady. "Mind if I join you?" Every eye in the diner bore down on Malik now, a weighty silence wrapping around them. He opened his mouth. "Sure," he stammered, the word barely tumbling out. As Evan slid into the booth opposite him, Malik's throat tightened. The moment felt monumental, poised on the edge of change or catastrophe. His mind raced through every conversation he had held that day, every earnest plea for understanding. "Thanks for bringing everyone together, Malik," Evan began, looking around the table. "I know my presence isn't popular. But I'm here to listen." All at once, the buzz of conversations returned, like the kettle boiling over the fire. Fractured remarks about betrayal collided with hopeful whispers about change. Malik's stomach twisted. To some, he was still a bridge to everything they feared. To others, a beacon of hope. "Why should we trust you?" a voice piped up from the back. It was Taylor, a familiar face, arms crossed defiantly. "You come in here with all your money. What do you care about us?" Evan's gaze remained steady. "Because I want to invest in you, in this community. I want to help." Malik saw the flicker of doubt in Taylor's eyes soften slightly. There was something about Evan's earnestness, the way he spoke, that made the words weightier. "But why now?" came another voice, this one from a woman Malik recognized as Eleanor, her brow furrowed. "What have you done for us before?" "That's fair," Evan replied, his expression serious. "I haven't tea. But I've learned something through recent events, something I can't ignore. I can't just sit back and watch while my wealth doesn't lift up those who really need it." A ripple of uncertainty wove through the crowd. Malik felt the room shift, a crack in the ice of rigid beliefs. "Okay," Malik interjected, his voice stronger now. "Let's give Evan the chance to prove that he can be one of us." "Why, Malik?" Taylor challenged, his voice rising slightly. "Do you really trust him?" Malik's heart raced but his conviction surged. "Because I believe if we want change, we have to take risks. We can't keep hiding from those we don't understand. This is our shot at making things better." As murmurs arose again, a path began to form. Malik noticed a hand slowly raised in agreement, followed by another. "Let's hear him out," a voice shouted from the corner. Suddenly, the room was filled with voices, blurting out questions, hopes and doubts, all clamoring for answers. Evan smiled, relieved. "Let's talk about what this charity event can be, then. Together, we can reshape how our town sees each other." As discussion sparked around them, Malik felt a warmth spreading inside him. Maybe it was just the sunlight streaming in or the beginning of something much bigger, but for the first time, hope felt tangible. Still, he couldn't shake the nervousness in his gut. Would they truly bridge the gap, or would the wildfires of misunderstanding flare up once more? As optimism danced cheek to cheek with doubt, he understood this was just the beginning. That in the backdrop of raucous voices and passionate debate, the stakes grew higher. Malik knew he was standing at a crucial crossroads, with Evan by his side, yet an unsettling question loomed: was their fragile understanding strong enough to weather what was yet to come? As the conversation swelled around them, the atmosphere felt electric. Questions shot back and forth like live wires, each one a representation of the hopes and fears hanging in the air. Malik listened intently, riding the waves of emotion that surged through the room. He felt proud, and yet the anxiety in his gut twisted tighter. Evan leaned forward, his elbows resting on the table, fully engaged. "I understand that trust is hard to come by, especially from someone like me," he said, his voice steady but gentle. "But I promise, I'm not here just to throw money at problems. I want to build something lasting with you all." Taylor's expression softened, but suspicion still clung to him like a shadow. "Then why not start by sharing your experiences? Why should we believe you can help us in ways no one else ever has?" Evan took a deep breath, weighing his next words carefully. "Because I've been where you are, just on the other side of the fence. I come from a family that had to fight tooth and nail for every inch. I know what it feels like to be sidelined, to watch as doors close one after another because of who you are." Malik's heart thumped at Evan's revelation. He perceived a flicker of recognition in the eyes of others, a tiny spark connecting the two worlds. This guy wasn't just a wealthy outsider. He was a man with a story, with struggles that made him relatable. Eleanor spoke up. "And what do you want from us, Evan?" What's in it for you? Evan chuckled softly, as though she had struck a chord. I want to be part of this community. I want to create a future where we all thrive together. The charity event is just the beginning. I see so much potential here: talent, creativity, resilience. I want to tap into that. The murmurs intensified, mixed with hesitation and hope. Could they really trust him? Malik caught snippets: a mother's worries about her children's future, an old man lamenting the loss of community spirit. It stung, the urgency of it all. This wasn't just about money, it was about pride, dignity, and the desire for something better. What if it fails? Came a quiet voice from the back. Malik turned to find an older man he recognized: Mr. Hargrove, a once vibrant fixture of the neighborhood. What if all this just leads to more disappointment? The gravity of that question knocked the wind from Malik's chest. The collective sigh of the diner was heavy with defeat. Just as hope flickered, a cloud of doubt swept in, threatening to extinguish it. Suddenly, Evan leaned back. There was a quiet confidence in him now, one that seemed to draw strength from everyone's concerns. What if it does fail? He echoed, that's a risk we all face every day, yet we're still here, fighting. But we must ask ourselves, what if it succeeds? What if this is the chance we've needed to change our narrative? All I'm asking is for the opportunity to try. Malik felt the tremors of uncertainty shift, like the wake of a boat slicing through water. The atmosphere breathed a little easier as the walls of skepticism began to show cracks. In that moment, Malik realized they were on the precipice of something monumental. It would take more than a charity event, it would require their collective trust and courage. Each clash of voices became less of a shout and more a symphony of collaboration, as people began to vision the possibilities, but just as excitement began to bubble, another thought snaked into Malik's mind: a sudden flash of doubt ignited anew. Would they all be able to face the inevitable pushback from outside forces? Would their efforts draw the kind of attention that would disrupt everything they were trying to build? Malik glanced at Evan, whose expression had grown more determined, yet a hint of worry lingered there too. A new urgency flickered in the air, lending weight to their next steps. They'll be watching, you know, Malik said, his voice barely a whisper, overwhelmed. And like an electric current, the tension surged again. As the room held its breath, the question hung palpably: would they be ready to face what lay ahead together, or would the storm tear them apart before they even began? The room remained thick with anticipation, hanging on the edge of possibility. Malik scanned the faces around him, realizing they all shared the same unspoken question. Could they trust Evan enough to step into the unknown? The uncertainty bolstered his anxiety, but a spark of courage began to light the way. He could feel it. This was more than just a business deal, it was a chance for redemption, a chance to reclaim their narrative. Evan broke the silence, his voice warm and steady. I know it's a lot to ask, but this isn't just my journey. It's ours. Every single one of you matters. I want to invite you to be part of this in a way that calls for us all to lead. That starts with you believing in yourselves. Malik admired the way Evan commanded the attention in the room. Even Taylor was now leaning slightly forward, intrigued. And what if Evan truly meant what he said? The thought swept through Malik like wildfire. Gradually, the murmurs of doubt started to fade. One by one, they opened up, sharing their thoughts like petals unfolding in sunlight. I want my kids to have a better life, a young mother with weary eyes admitted. Not just money, but opportunities, echoed another, her voice thick with emotion. Evan nodded, absorbing every word. And that's exactly what I'm offering. Together we can give our kids the future they deserve. The tension lightened, but Malik felt one more barrier lying heavily in the air, a mixture of tradition and fear. The unyielding way things had been for so long cast a long shadow. Malik shivered as he recalled his father's struggles, his face weathered by life's harsh realities, yet adorned with unwavering pride. Would they be giving up the very essence of their community to step into the unknown? Change isn't easy, Malik spoke up, pushing through the doubt that quaked in his chest. What is sacred about our community is its roots. Can we really reshape everything and keep those roots intact? Evan met his gaze, the blue of his eyes gleaming with understanding. That's a valid concern, Malik. Moving forward doesn't mean abandoning who we are, it means growing together. You can honor your roots while planting new seeds. I believe we can do both. Malik glanced around again. The fear on some faces began to melt away, replaced with curiosity. It was as if Evan's words pushed them to consider the amazing blend of tradition and transformation. Could it be done? Just then, a young girl, no older than 12, shyly raised her hand. What if we fail? She asked softly, her voice trembling. A hush fell over the room once more, the deep truth of her question touching the very core of their hopes. What if failure is just a stepping stone to something better? Evan said. Every great story has an obstacle. What matters is how we meet it with courage or retreat. I'm ready for this battle. Are you? The energy shifted dramatically. An overwhelming wave of hope surged as voices joined in agreement, filling the air with a new resilience. They were moving past their fear, embracing possibility. Malik felt it coursing through him, spilling over, but just as the ideas blossomed, a sudden flash of doubt dared to creep back in. Someone out there in the community must have heard the whispers, the ambitions they were discussing. Would they face staunch opposition from those who thrived on keeping the status quo? Then we must be brave, Malik finally said, his heart racing. If we're going to do this, let's prepare for the storm even before the clouds gather. As the air charged with determination, Malik found himself caught between exhilaration and dread. They were daring to visualize a different future, but the path was fraught with challenges. Outside, the wind howled, sending shivers down their spines. Malik caught Evan's eye again, realizing they were not just team members, they were co-creators of this vision. But behind that camaraderie loomed a truth he couldn't shake off. Would they truly be able to stand unified when the pushback began? The first steps toward their destiny loomed ahead like an open road, and yet, uncertainty hung in the air like dark clouds on a sunny day. Will we be strong enough? Malik pondered aloud as the question rattled within the walls of the diner. The room quieted, and with that silence came the heavy weight of anticipation. The next phase of their journey wasn't just about trusting in Evan, it was about finding trust in one another. Would they rise as one when the storm truly hit? Malik's heart pounded as he looked around the room, weighing the gravity of his question. Each face bore signs of dreams and doubts, and he recognized the unshakable bonds of community tied intricately to fear. Concerned whispers buzzed like the wind outside, as if their very thoughts were trying to escape the four walls of the diner. Evan stepped forward, his gaze steady and resolute. I believe in your strength, he declared, filling the air with conviction. Together, we can confront any storm that comes our way. But that means we need to talk through our fears. Share what weighs on your hearts. One voice rose from the back. Darnell, a local mechanic with a reputation for straight talk. What if our families don't back us up? What if they see this as a betrayal? The room turned quiet again, the weight of his words sending a ripple of concern through the gathering. Evan nodded, acknowledging the fear but raising a hand for calm. It's entirely possible. There'll always be voices of dissent when change approaches. But remember, we can't let fear paralyze us. Sharing our vision might just turn skeptics into supporters. Darnell crossed his arms, skepticism etched on his face. Malik empathized with him. Change felt like a wild horse no one knew how to tame. He took a deep breath, rallying his own thoughts. Could he, a mere member of this community, muster the courage to pave a path for something bigger? I think Malik began, his voice shaky but growing clearer. We might need to start small. Show them how this can work. Host community meetings, let us share the vision and get folks on board. Nods rippled through the room, hope knitted into their shared hesitance. Even Taylor spoke up now, her voice soft yet firm, and we can invite families to get involved. Show them that their children could benefit from this too. Exactly, Malik responded, encouraged. Let us create something tangible for them to see, not just ideas in the air. If they can see the benefits, they may understand this isn't just about us. It's about future generations. As they brainstormed, Malik felt the warmth of possibility flooding through them. It was as if the fierce wind outside couldn't touch the unity kindling in that room. With every idea exchanged, there was a more tangible thread forming among them, binding their fears into a collective resolve, yet even as enthusiasm surged, Malik couldn't shake the underlying fear that still lurked in the shadows. Logs of doubt continued to stack in his mind, whispering that some people might never see their effort as noble. What if their neighbors stood against them, forcing them to fight for their vision of progress? The air began to close around them again, and Malik could sense a storm brewing not just outside but within the very core of their gathering. Can we truly stand strong as one? He wondered aloud, glancing at the open windows, the rain starting to pelt against the glass, echoing the tumult of emotions in the diner. Evan caught the tension and took a step back. This is the moment we could pivot one way or another. We have the power to forge ahead as a team. Our efforts, no matter how small, lay the groundwork for a future we believe in. Malik's eyes flicked to each person around him. He wanted so desperately to believe that they all harbored the same flame of resilience. In that fracture of a moment, he could feel the tipping point approaching, that nexus of destiny, but just as that shared determination began to settle, the door swung open with a sudden gust. The wind rushed in, carrying the chill with it. Malik's stomach sank as a shadowy figure stepped in from the storm outside. Heads turned as the newcomer thrust a folded paper onto the table with a single, jarring statement, "You're going to want to see this." Curiosity mixed with dread washed over the room. All eyes were now on the unexpected messenger, who stood there like a storm cloud ready to unleash chaos. What revelations awaited them, and could it derail everything they had built that night? The diner fell into a thick silence, the kind that clung to the air like the humidity before a summer storm. Malik's heart raced again, this time not from hope, but from anxiety. The figure stood there, shrouded in shadows, and he swallowed hard, rubbing his palms against his jeans. "What do you mean, we're going to want to see this?" Evan asked, stepping forward. His brow furrowed, a mix of curiosity and tension etched on his face. The stranger, a woman in a worn raincoat, shifted on her feet, letting the door swing shut behind her. "This is about your plan," she said, her voice steady yet penetrating, like a lighthouse beam cutting through fog. She unfolded the paper, revealing it to the group. "I found this near the old library. You have to look at it carefully." Malik craned his neck for a better view. The paper was old, its edges brittle, and the faint ink seemed to hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. As she laid it flat on the table, the letters danced under the diner's flickering light. It was a community proposal, a vision for revitalization signed by names he recognized, neighbors, teachers, even the mayor. An electric shock seemed to ripple through the room. Darnell squinted at the details. "Is this what I think it is? A plan that's been here this whole time?" "It looks like it," Malik breathed, excitement tinged with disbelief. "But why now? Who left this here?" The woman's gaze flickered. "I believe it was meant for you. It's a plan that connects directly to what you all were just discussing." Malik felt a surge of hope. Was this a sign? Did this mean they weren't alone in their fight for change? "This could be the foundation we can build on," he exclaimed, his voice suddenly louder as the prospect of collaboration ignited something deep within him. Everyone leaned in closer, their fears melting like the snowflakes falling outside, which now blanketed the street. Evan nodded, looking reassured. "If we can put this into action, it's a way to show our families we can work together." But Darnell frowned, eyes narrowing. "Wait a minute. It could backfire. What if we are stepping into a trap? Who knows what happened before this plan was thrown in our lap?" The sense of unease returned, settling back into the cracks around them. Malik felt the tightness in his chest. Would this treasure lead them to hope, or would it drown them in risk? Taylor, always the peacemaker, chimed in softly, we have to think carefully. Every great change comes with its challenges. But what if this is our chance to prove that we can make a difference? The renewed chatter of ideas and fears filled the air again. Each voice felt more alive, breath mingling with excitement as they debated what to do next. Malik's head swirled with possibilities. Could they actually do this? Could they follow through? As the discussions continued, the rain intensified outside, drumming against the windows like a heartbeat, echoing their collective drive. And then, the woman spoke again, pulling their attention back to her. I brought this here for a reason. It's not just a plan. It's a community's voice. But there is something more, something I haven't told you yet. Malik's heart sank at her words, the weight of uncertainty creeping in again. Losing momentum at this stage felt impossible. What is it? He asked, his voice barely a whisper amidst the rising tension. The corners of her mouth tightened. You need to know the truth about what happened to the people who tried to implement it. Before the words hung in the air, heavy like the storm itself. The diner became a sanctuary of whispered fears and burgeoning dreams, united in a moment of both clarity and apprehension. Could they really face what was coming? And was the potential for change worth the hidden dangers hidden within the past? As Malik's mind reeled with questions, he sensed the storm wasn't just outside anymore. It had found its way into their lives, twisting everything they knew. What would it unravel next? Malik's pulse quickened with every word that hung in the air, each syllable a weight pressing down on him. The woman's serious expression told him this was no ordinary revelation. It was a flashback to darker times, a history they might not be prepared to uncover. Please, tell us, Evan urged, his hand gripping the edge of the table. The tension was palpable, even the scattered raindrops seemed to pause as if anticipating her answer. The last group that tried to push this plan forward. They vanished without a trace, she said, her eyes darting briefly toward the window, perhaps afraid of what lurked outside. A collective gasp rose among the group, turning the excitement into dread. Vanished? Taylor echoed, her breath hitching. Like, they just disappeared. The woman nodded gravely. Yes. They were passionate, just like you are now. But there were obstacles, people who didn't want change. And they paid the price. Her eyes fixed on Malik as if pleading with him to understand the gravity of her words. What kind of obstacles? Darnell asked, his voice steady, but Malik could see the tightness in his jaw. They faced more than just skepticism, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Intimidation, threats. Some say they were silenced. You should think carefully before moving forward. This plan doesn't just represent hope, it holds the weight of unresolved struggles. A cold breeze swept through the diner, making Malik shiver slightly. The atmosphere felt electric and fragile all at once. He glanced at his friends. Evan's eyes were wide with anxiety, Taylor looked pale, and Darnell's expression had hardened into deep thought. But if we just give up, isn't that the same as letting fear win? Malik finally spoke, his voice steady but laced with urgency. What if this time is different? What if, together, we can push through the challenges? Maybe Evan started, uncertainty woven through his tone. But what if we're putting ourselves in danger? This is our lives we're talking about. We owe it to those who came before us to try, Malik countered, his heart pounding. They didn't just leave us that plan to walk away from it. They left it hoping someone would take it up. This is our chance to honor their struggle. The woman nodded slowly as if she recognized that spark of determination. You're strong, she said quietly, but strength comes with awareness. Know what you're up against. It might be more than just the community's voice, it could be a war for your future. Then let us arm ourselves with knowledge. Let us find out what happened. Darnell declared, rising to his feet, his resolve igniting as he surveyed the room. Malik felt a renewed fire in his chest. We can do this together. We need to figure out who was involved back then, what happened, and why they were silenced. If we uncover the full truth, we can protect ourselves. We owe it to ourselves and to them. Yes, Taylor added. And we need to gather support. If it worked in the past, it can work again. I can help, the woman said, her voice growing firmer. I've been doing research on the incidents related to that plan. I can guide you. Hope began to swell within Malik. This could be their chance, their moment to break free from fear and stand as a united front. But just as the excitement built, a loud bang jolted them from their thoughts. The front door swung open, slamming against the wall as a gust of wind rushed in, carrying a chilling wave of reality. Is someone else coming? Darnell whispered, his posture tense. Maybe it's a sign, the woman replied, her eyes narrowing toward the entrance. Malik felt adrenaline pump through him, spurred by an urgent need to confront whatever lay ahead. What awaited them beyond that door? As footsteps echoed loudly across the diner's floor, Malik braced himself, nerves dancing in his stomach. Was it ally or adversary? They had no way of knowing. But whatever unfolded, he understood one thing: the real fight had just begun. The door swung open completely, revealing a figure shrouded in dripping rain. A man stood tall, arm lifted against the wind, his silhouette briefly framed by the dull, gray sky behind him. Malik squinted, trying to gauge the newcomer. His heart raced. Was this person a friend or another threat? Sorry for bursting in like this, the man called out, shaking water from his coat as he stepped inside. Is this the right place for? His voice trailed off as he surveyed the group, his gaze resting on the woman by the window, who appeared equally surprised and wary. I'm looking for someone, he continued, his expression earnest, someone who might be interested in changing things. The tension in the diner loosened just a tad, curiosity replacing fear. Malik's pulse settled into a steady rhythm, but he remained alert. The woman exchanged a glance with Malik, then nodded slightly. Encouraging. What do you know? Malik asked, stepping forward. Who are you? I'm Jason, the man replied, confidence rippling through his voice. I've heard about the group that vanished. Find the ones running the show now, and you'll find the answers. He wiped his brow, the weight of his words settling in the air like thick fog. Are you willing to help us? Evan interjected, still hesitant. The group was treading carefully now, edging closer together, united by the unspoken pact they had forged to uncover the truth. More than that, Jason said, moving closer to the table. I have evidence that could shed light on the past, and the people behind the threats. Hope flickered among them, igniting a spark. You have proof? Taylor breathed, her excitement barely suppressed. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small flash drive. It glimmered under the diner's dim lights like a lifeline. Everything I've collected. It's a risk, but the truth needs revealing. Why are you helping us? Darnell asked, voice steady but calculating. What's your stake in this? Jason sighed heavily, looking down at the drive in his hand. I grew up in a neighborhood just like yours. I've seen what silence does. I can't sit back and watch another group get silenced. It's time for action. As they listened, hearts pounding, Malik felt a surge of determination. Let us see it, he urged, his voice firm. Not so fast, the woman warned. It's still dangerous. Whoever they are won't take kindly to anyone digging into their past. Jason nodded, understanding the gravity. I know the risks. But I want to find those who made my childhood that chaotic, he said, locking eyes with Malik. And I can help you navigate this. Malik exchanged glances with his friends. A mix of hope and fear hung in the air. They were at a crossroads. Was this their ally or another player in an unseen game? Let us see the evidence, Malik said, his voice ringing with resolve. They needed to know what was at stake. Jason took a deep breath, nodding. He clasped the flash drive tightly, as if it were a torch that could guide them through the darkness. But just then, a loud crash resonated from the diner's back door, followed by muted shouting. Everyone froze. Panic surged through Malik, flooding his veins with ice. Were the threats closing in already? Were they too late? Do you hear that? Taylor gasped. Stay behind me, Darnell commanded, his protective instincts igniting. Malik's heart raced. It felt like they were standing on the edge of an abyss, the unknown looming behind them. What or who was waiting for them in the shadows? He turned to Jason, whose grip tightened on the drive. Are you with us, or do we need to run? That was the moment when they would either plunge into the depths of struggle or rise to meet whatever storm loomed on the horizon. He wondered, as they gathered closer, arms braced against the brewing chaos, what truth awaited them just beyond the back door. In the thick of tension, the door shuddered again as a loud crash pierced through the uneasy whispers. Malik's breath caught in his throat. What awaited them on the other side could change everything. Get ready. Darnell instructed, his voice steady but urgent. A mix of trepidation and hope filled the small diner as they sensed a powerful moment unfolding. Jason stepped back toward the group, holding the flash drive as if it contained the key to their future. Malik felt his spirit surge with a mix of fear and adrenaline. Whatever lay beyond the door, they would confront it together. Malik approached the back door warily. With a shared glance among his friends, they gathered their resolve and pressed against the frame. Darnell nodded at Malik. They were ready. Heart pounding, Malik reached for the doorknob, turning it slowly. When the door swung open, crisp wind rushed in, carrying an electric anticipation, and then silence. Only a few steps away stood two familiar faces, breathless but determined. It was Tasha and Marcus, childhood friends who shared Malik's passion for the community. Their eyes were wild with excitement and fear mingled in equal measure. Malik. We heard about what you're doing. Tasha exclaimed, stepping into the warmth of the diner. We want to help. Malik's heart fluttered. Just when doubts threatened to pull them into the depths, more allies were joining the fight. How did you hear? He asked, suddenly filled with hope. Word gets around, Marcus said, grinning widely. We've been spreading the word about the charity event and your conversation with Evan. People are beginning to rally. But we need to act fast. We heard some folks are unhappy about the changes you are planning. Evan, standing beside Malik, felt the energy shift. This is great news. He said, eyes brightening. We have to present a united front. We all want the best for our families and this community. But Malik's thoughts raced. They could be ready to push back hard, even retaliate after what happened before. We need to guide our community toward understanding, not more chaos. Tasha stepped forward. We have a plan. We'll organize community outreach meetings, maybe even peaceful rallies to raise awareness. We can gather support in numbers show that many are hopeful for change. That's it. Malik shouted, fire in his chest igniting at the rally of spirits. Our voices together will drown out the ones that seek to sow fear. Look at us right now, we're stronger together. We need to dig deep, reach out, and remind everyone of what we can build, not just fight. They could not ignore what was to come, but they could prepare. Jason moved forward, excitement bubbling. I can help. I've got connections, people who want to see change too. With enough momentum, we can force those who resist to rethink their positions. He looked at Malik, determination glowing in his eyes. As their plans unfolded, Malik felt a swell of hope. The storm within him began to quiet, allowing him to feel the warmth of connection. The walls that had divided them were softening, and the way forward had begun to take shape before their eyes. With newfound clarity, they began mapping out the details of their campaign. Every person in the diner rallied as they brainstormed, sharing ideas, anecdotes, and memories that sewn into the rich fabric of their community. They would be brave, they would embrace the past, and together they would move forward. Hours slipped by as they organized with increasing enthusiasm. Laughter began to rise above the tension, and the diner transformed into a hotbed of camaraderie and unity. They sketched posters, planned speeches, and divided tasks. A few even began writing songs to rally others, an anthem for their cause, but Malik still remembered the woman's warning, a thread of caution weaving its way through his excitement. They couldn't afford to be naive. Part of him wondered if they were truly prepared for backlash. Would people like him and their friends emerge successfully against an unseen foe? Would they face pushback that might overshadow their hopes, as if responding to his silent doubts, Darnell spoke up. Listen, we are a community of fighters. We won't let anything dim the light of what we're aiming for. The truth will rise like the dawn. If we unite, we're unstoppable. In that moment, Malik recognized the truth of Darnell's words. They had strength not just in numbers, but in the shared dream to forge a better path. He steadied his breath, feeling the warmth of their bond transforming fear into energy. It bathed his heart in courage, with Jason offering to assist with strategies to keep them safe and focused on their goal. They all stood ready to face whatever storm loomed ahead. The next morning, an unexpected call to action echoed within their hearts. They would step into their community, reclaim the narrative, and shed light on their purpose, to build a brighter future through understanding and unity. "Let us make our first move this weekend," Tasha declared, determination biting through her voice. "We'll spread the word, gather families, and hold a meeting to bring everyone together." One by one their voices joined in agreement, a wave of solidarity sweeping over the diner, solidifying their resolve. They left that night with clear purpose, spirits intertwined, ready to march toward their fate. When Malik walked home that night, the moon illuminated the world around him, casting a glow that felt like hope itself. Wind swept through the streets, promising a change even amidst doubt. For the first time in months, the spirit of his mother's teachings nestled deep within him. He felt empowered, ready for whatever lay ahead. Together, they would pave a new way for their community, rooted in the strength of their connections. The storm had come and gone, but Malik emerged as the hopeful heart of a town reborn. With every challenge faced, new dialogues opened, and dreams began to materialize like snow melting into the sun, revealing the warmth waiting just below the surface. That evening, he hugged his mother tightly, whispering promises of brighter days. As she returned his embrace, he felt with full clarity, this was the beginning of a powerful transformation for their community. A new dawn was rising, and they would be ready. Now, let me urge you to take action. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss what comes next. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and ensure these inspiring stories reach more hearts. Comment below your feelings about this incredible transformation, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how unity can change a community forever. Together, we can make an even bigger impact.